Welcome, Spencer Ben Dixon. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you on tonight.
Thank you, Garrett. Glad to be here. Looking forward to it.
So, how are you feeling so far with your team? I mean, you're one of the top scorers last couple of weeks, so it's kind of scary, at least for me.
You know, my team's been driving me nuts. I'll tell you that. We had a slow start, a repeat of last season. I don't know if you remember, but I think it was like 0 and 7 or 1 and 7 or something
I
like
do.
that.
I remember that
And
real well because you gave me your first round pick that year, and I was praying high heaven that you'd have the number one pick, and I didn't have to make any double trades.
yeah, so I mean, so far the slow start has been driving me nuts because we've been repeat of last year. But I mean, so far it looks like we're going to be 2 and 3, or we are 2 and 3, I should say, and it looks like we're getting another win this week, so should be 3 and 3. So we're coming back up, but my depth has not been not been there like it has in years past. So that's why it's been driving me nuts. But right now I'm excited. I think we're going to be one of the top two scoring teams again this week after last week as well. So things are looking up and up for the Dirty Mike and the boys here. We're
Jerry
looking
Mike
forward
and the
to the
boys. Now tell me,
nice championship run.
tell me where you got that name. Tell me where it came from. Out of the mind of Spencer.
Oh, if you know, you know. Let's leave it at that.
Cool. Okay. So moving on, Ron Burgundy and Dirty Mike and the boys, your matchup.
I just want to say one thing here before you dive in. Suck it, Matt. You got crushed. Enjoy your defeat.
We're gonna jump into a little bit of questions, answers, a little Q&A for our commissioner. He's been the commissioner of our league ever since inception, and so it'll be kind of nice to kind of get a little word from our leadership. Now, Spencer, I want to ask you this question, and I don't want you to kill the messenger, but there's been a lot of chatter about these power rankings in the board, and I just want to know what you say to your detractors who might say you only favor one team, or the board only favors one team and Mahomes.
Yeah, I would say they need to take a good look in the mirror and really question themselves. Because when you look at the rankings, when I get the rankings back from the board, and let me tell you, they're compiled, closed room, key, locked door. I don't even have a key to the door. But they put these together. They're probably in the room last week. What were they in there for? Maybe 3 hours, putting these rankings together. I think they're pretty well done. So,
I
um,
mean, I don't disagree that the rankings have seemed, especially last week and the week before, they've been seeing a little more love to other teams, and I would say a little fairness was probably shown from the board. But really, the hard thing is we don't live in a society of closed doors. We need to peel back and just show a little transparency. Is there anything you can give our viewership to kind of show that the board has more than just their own interest involved?
yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, for those who think the commissioner is the one putting the power rankings together, they can suck it because I've been at the bottom of the rankings for like pretty much the whole season. So, and if it was me, I think I'm a top four team. But hey, what are you going to do? So, I mean, I must admit, what was it a couple weeks ago? There was an 8A and an 8B. I had a good chuckle at that one when that one came out. So, and I was one of the eight. I think I was 8A, but but yeah, I would. They are very well done. You could ask the AP coaches poll for college football. It's half of those guys are doing our power rankings, and another half of
Mm,
guys are doing them too. So we also use the BCS computer that's been thrown in the garbage. We took it out. They're using it
oh, you
to help
rebuilt it.
this. Yes, we rebuilt it. So yeah, it
Gotcha.
does play into a factor. So
Well, Commissioner, being wise and giving us a little more information on the secretive board and the power rankings. Appreciate that.
anytime, Garrett.
Okay, so we kind of just went through our recap. We saw some teams that are kind of struggling a little bit right now. We saw some teams that are teams kind of coming together, playing together, gaining that mojo. What do you think that teams should be doing? Fantasy football managers should be doing right now.
Yeah, this is a good question. I mean, we're kind of with our league, being the way it is, and if you look back historically, there's always been in our league a lot of parity. Always, always. We have usually there's one team that hangs around at the top, and sometimes there's a league the team that's at the bottom that just kind of hovers. Um, but usually we have at least five teams who are fighting for playoff spot, and so just keep grinding. I think everyone just keep grinding, keep pounding the waivers, keep looking for those diamonds in the rough. I mean, I know they're very far and few, especially in our dynasty league, where there isn't too much on the waivers. But yeah, keep grinding, make some trades, talk
We,
some
we don't really
trades.
see that many in season trades in our league. Most of the trading seems to happen preseason. I think we had, I don't know if it was historically first trade of during the in season that just recently happened, wasn't it? Ryan's team and Brooksby's.
Yeah. Um, it- Correct. There isn't very many trades that have historically happened throughout the season. I think that's because people build up their teams right in the off season, get excited for them, and then they want to let them play out. Um, but yeah, when needs come up, I mean, clearly Brooksby had a need, right? He needed that tight end,
Mm,
and he got it. So, I think I thought it was a great move. Both teams, right? Aggressive, go after your needs. I think our league. I think I want to see some more aggressiveness. I want to see teams be aggressive with their teams all year. We have some very aggressive managers in the off season, but when it carries over into the regular season, people kind of fade back. Let's be aggressive. So,
gotcha. The word of the day: be aggressive.
hmm
Perfect. Okay, moving on. It's really interesting. We just had some breaking news that happened today. Robbie Anderson disillusioned over there with the Panthers. The Panthers decided to kick him out of the team and send him off to the Cards. So we just also got alerted that Marquise Brown might have a season-ending foot injury, and D Hop is coming back off a suspension this next week. What do you see this? How do you see this all playing out?
Robbie Anderson. I hate to say this because he's on my bench, but I think he's toast. Um,
Really?
I don't think any mid-season trades for any skill players have ever been good for fantasy. Whether it's receiver, tight end, running back, you don't see it happen very often. But I think the ones that do get traded mid-season never pan out. We have some great off-season ones, but the mid-season ones never pan out. They got to learn the playbook and stuff. It just doesn't work. So I think Robbie Anderson's just a 10% of snaps kind of guy in
Mm.
Arizona, just because he's got to learn the playbook, right? So, but
I mean, who's
if
going to be on the field then? Rondell
if
Moore?
yeah, if Brown is hurt, I think this is a big win for Zach Ertz.
Okay.
Big win for Mr. Greg Dortch. I think Mr. Dortch is
Mm,
gonna excel. So he's been
that's a
a,
good
a little
call.
fantasy sleeper here at the beginning of the season, but I think he's gonna continue to take off.
Now, do you know who has Dortch on their team right now?
I don't. I want to. I think Mr. I
I
think
think he was picked up about a couple of weeks ago. I
yeah.
don't think he's on the waivers right now.
I think Trevor has him. I'm doing a
Ah,
quick.
some foresight.
Yeah, Trevor. He is on Seek and Destroy here.
And Zeke and Destroy is still a top tier team in our league, so this could play out pretty well for him.
Potentially, yeah. It very well could. And he has Kyler Murray, the stack with Greg
Mm.
Dortch and Kyler Murray. It's probably the least talked about stack of all time, but he's got it.
Probably, honestly.
He's got it. I mean, props to him. He's thinking about that stack.
I mean, are we really seeing D Hop not walk back into the number one for that offense, and Zach Ertz and Greg Dortch and these other guys being a target share above him? Is that really a reality we're going to look into?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, personally, I think D Hop is pretty washed. I don't think he's got much left in the tank. I think Marquise Hollywood Brown took that spot from him. So
Yeah.
if this is a season-ending injury, I mean, obviously D Hop's going to have to step up. I mean, we know AJ Green, he's washed, he's done. Forget about him. Might as well just cut him. He's just useless at this point. But yeah, D Hop's going to have to step up. If not, we may be talking about Greg Dortch being the number one receiver next year.
That would be quite the commentary. I know all the true analysts would have a field day for 6 months with that one.
Oh yeah.
Greg George. So, I mean, another interesting now that I bring up what kind of veterans who that probably are washed. I think it was in this last offseason that we got alerted that Josh Gordon was traded around and somebody in our league picked him up. And then I think he's on the waivers right now because he got dropped because he's been washed the last couple of years. I made the mistake of holding Gordon about 3 years. And this is way back when he was having his go no go with the NFL and the NFL rules on marijuana. So I don't know, man. It's hard. I mean, and with Gordon, he was a top tier athlete when he played,
Yeah.
but
Fun fact about Gordon, speaking of breaking news, that dude was just cut today from the Titans practice squad.
he
I
was.
mean,
Oh, I
oh
didn't even know
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
Jeez, kids, that's why you don't use drugs. He literally threw away his career, and he was talented enough to sign a major wide receiver deal. And if he just kept it together before he got pretty much kicked out that first time from the NFL, oh, what could have happened, right?
Could have only known. I mean, I remember setting records for the Cleveland Browns back when the Cleveland Browns were the Cleveland Turds because they couldn't get a single win.
I remember that, and good old Money Manziel back there. What crazy days we had. So
Oh yeah.
okay, let's move on. So, Commissioner, what is your vision for this league? This league has been around for quite a bit of time now. Kind of where do you see us in the next, 5 years?
You know, my vision and ultimately goal is just that we got a league that sticks together, bonds together, talks trash together, and ultimately just talks football together. That's what I want to see. Just a group of guys who can sit and talk football and have fun with football.
That's awesome. I think from, where I sit, I feel the same way. I thoroughly enjoy this league. I think it's actually a pretty rare thing to find a group of people with fantasy football, fantasy sports, anything that can stay in touch and be competitive in something that, especially since we live across the nation now. So go ahead.
Yep, and exactly that's it, right? I mean, we're coast to coast with this league, which is unique, I think, right? And north to south, all over. So that camaraderie is what we need. Band of brothers, band of fantasy football brothers.
Best and worst thing about being the commissioner.
Best, you're always on top of the league. You know the ins and out of the league. I probably shouldn't say this, but most people come to me asking about their trades for some reason.
Oh,
So I'm
really?
involved in a lot of behind the scene trade action
Yeah. How do you
that's
stay
happening.
unbiased on that one?
Yeah, it's tough, say the least. No, but I like the ins and outs, right? It's people coming to talk football. It's what I love. I sound like John Gruden here. People wanted to come talk football, right? Spider ZY banana. So, but yeah, that's probably the best. The worst, I got people complaining to me about scores, following up with people uh, on getting ready for the league, but it's minimal things to complain about.
Is there anything that you would change with an executive authority right now?
No, we'll keep it the
Well,
way it is.
You heard it here first. Okay, let's look forward to the matchups, and then we'll sneak back around after our last break onto this special conversation piece. That's going to be something you guys want to stick around for. Breaking news. Good point. Breaking news. Um, so we can take a moment from our break, and we'll go into that. Welcome back. So now we're going to do a little preview of our next week's battles. So first off, Every Day I'm Wrestling playing against Catching Fire. So I'll take this one since it's my team. Ryan's team is scary. I think his record does not reflect how decent his team actually is. So I mean he's got my old number one running back Saquon, traded that to him last year for Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook this year has been good, but it's been a little worrisome because some games I'm just like, okay, Cook, you gonna play ball? You're gonna be RB1? Let's go. But Saquon's coming freaking out of the gate, and he's like, I didn't get injured. Screw you guys. I'm playing
Yeah,
football.
number one running back so far, or number
Yeah.
two, I think.
Yeah. I feel kind of bummed that I traded him off, but I had a good season from Cook last year, and Cook's still a solid RB right now. So it is what it is. It's just how the game goes. I think I
Yeah,
will still catch a victory against Ryan this year, confidence in your own team.
Interesting. I honestly, I'm going to go with the upset. I think Rustlin is on a roll. I mean, he had 200 points a couple weeks ago. Suffered defeat last week, and is cruising to another victory this week. I mean, overall solid performance. I'm gonna go with the upset pick here.
Ah, well, I guess we'll disagree to agree or agree to disagree on that one. Moving on. Andrew, and your matchup. What do you got for me?
Yeah, this one's not going to be close. Let's be real. 30 Mike and the boys for the win.
I want to disagree with you on this one, but I think with the recent injuries that happened to Andrew's team, and that your team is still put up the second most points. Oh yeah, that was my team who put up the most points this week. Um, you have a very lean favor to your team. So I'll agree with you. I think Mary Mike and the boys are going to take this week as well. Okay. Stage 5, Kingsbury and Ron Burgundy. This is a little bit interesting of a matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to call this one the garbage matchup of the week. I mean, you got two struggling teams. I mean, record wise may not show it. You're going to have a 3-3 team and a 2-4 team, but I mean, combined total scores for the last 3 weeks. What? I'd be shocked if they're over 200 for both teams. They just haven't been
Hey,
there. So
at least it'll be a close game. Even if it's 60 points total for each team, it's going to be like 61 and 62.
yeah, and I think if I had to choose right now, I'm probably going Kingsbury. I like the rookies. I like the rookies. I like the young team. Let's see if they can pull victory out. Getting
I
D
don't know.
Hop back this week, may be a big thing. They get that veteran leadership back. We'll see. I think they're gonna might pull out a victory and end this skid.
I'm going to take Ron's side of this thing. I think he made some good trades this offseason. I think he could have made other trades that were better. But he did. He made some good trades for his team. I think his team has the ability to be a top tier scoring team, and that he might be going just through a small rough patch here. Um, and I want to dive into the strength of schedule because I think that leans a little more to the remaining of the rest of the season for him. So I'm going to take Ron Burgundy this week, and as you take Stage 5 Kingsbury. Moving on. This it could be the matchup of the week. Zeke and Destroy versus one for me, one for Mahomes.
Yeah, definitely matchup of the week here. Um, the top two teams in the power rankings, probably the last 3 or 4 weeks here. Yeah, has to be the matchup of the week here. Um, I mean, Zeke and Destroy is probably historically the most consistent team. Just was solid 120 points every week. It seems like, you know, but then you got one from Mahomes who either is putting up 180 or he may put up a clunker, right? Depending on if the Chiefs are on a bye or not. But man, if I got to take one, I got to go Mahomes. He's on fire right now. His running backs are
Ooh.
performing. I got Mahomes staying at the top.
I'm gonna lean actually over to Zeke and destroy. I think his
Interesting.
the solidness of his team will lean more. I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs, I'm not sure they're playing right now, so they're playing a good matchup this next week. If they are, they're in a blaze. But the Chiefs have been struggling, and they just got the Bills. The Bills easily, Chiefs and Bills, top two teams in the NFL right now. So I expected a little more points from Holmes, in this game, and I kind of was expecting Kelsey to get in the end zone this game as well.
I
So
mean,
I think Zeke.
after four TDs last week, what do you expect? I'm not surprised. He got zero. It's touchdown regression. It was just coming up. It was just going to catch up
Oh,
to him.
statistical, whatever. They game plan for Kelsey, so I still expect to see at least one TD in his stats every week with whoever they're playing. He's one of the top players in the NFL, man. I
He
mean,
is. I can't,
especially with
can't.
Andy Reid and Mahomes. Mahomes wants to throw it to Kelsey. He doesn't have Hill anymore.
Yeah.
He's the big guy down by the end zone. So
Oh yeah. That offense runs through Kelsey. But like you said, you game plan for him. A little regression in there.
yeah, you're
He,
right.
he
We
puts up a
saw some
clunker.
regression. Yeah. So yeah, a little split decision. We did have a combined decision on your game. Really because that team you're playing is just struggling right now. So let's talk about the breaking news that just happened in the league. Um, Reported by Schefter that one of the owners is questioning on his future for his team. So we seen some communication from his team to the media that his players, for those who are interested, are up for grabs. What do you think about this fire sale?
I think it's actually great. Sometimes you got to throw in the towel and you got to restart. Sometimes you just have to remember this. Sometimes you just have to trust the process and you'll get through. Trade for those draft picks, trade for those rookies, trade for those second year guys. Get them, rebuild, forever rebuild has been my motto in life sometimes. But sometimes you got to trust the process and just roll with it. I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I think we see it in the NFL, like in the actual teams. Cleveland, you know, long time scraping the bottom of the barrel. I mean, I think one season they went to 30 quarterbacks. And now they're a respectable team. Jets are looking they're playing good football. I mean, play decent football. The Giants are playing decent football right now, and vice versa. Patriots, right?
Yep,
Brady, those years, and Belichick just can't seem to quite put it together right now with what he's got. They're not horrible, but they're not Tom Brady and the Patriots.
for sure. Sometimes it's necessary, right? I mean, across all sports, I trust the process. We know for 76ers, they did it for years, collecting draft picks, selling the fire sale. Sometimes you get a group of guys and they just can't put it together. So, and that's just a decision that you got to make and say, hey, I gotta throw the towel in on this season and I gotta start building for next year. And that's the great thing about dynasty is that there's always a next year. It's not no redraft bull crap where you keep your team and you're set with it, or you got to make some bad trades. You're always planning for next year. You can always plan for next year.
So, I mean, what's the lookout? If you were going through a team rebuild, what's the horizon? You're looking out just 1 year, you're looking out next, I'm going to be looking to rebuild for a couple years now. And that's a long time. I mean, to forego a fight in our league is 8 teams. Like we're small. easily, I would think 6 to maybe 7. All those teams probably have a good fighting chance to try to get the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look. You can easily compete year over year, I think. I mean, we haven't seen that too much in our league. We've seen the middle teams kind of flip flop. We've, at least the last couple of years, the top and the bottom have been pretty set. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think with the right fire sale, I mean, we've seen it even this over the offseason. Some teams that are completely different this year than they were last year, and they're competing, right? So you can, I think you can do that. You can, at most, I think you need to look no more than 2 years, right? You got next 1 year, okay, you mess up, but you still, let's say you get a next year 2024 first round pick. That's another good player you can add in your team. I mean, you start looking further than that. I mean, you're building way into the future. That your EV, your net present value is just low to me. So
Okay. Now, being commissioner, are you concerned about potential collusion?
no, I'm not too concerned with any collusion in our league. I'm ever too much hatred for every other team in the league. I think for any collusion.
True. There's a lot of a good competition, I would think, in our league. Okay. Well, it's been wonderful having you, Commissioner.
It's been a pleasure. Before we go here, Garrett, I want to bring up a piece of hardware that, you know, few in the league have even set eyes on in person, and I have been honored to be graced by its presence here for 2 years. Granted, it shouldn't be at my house, but that's not on me. I'll tell you that. So just
Yes.
enjoy it.
Some of us were wondering if it was in existence, sadly.
Oh, it's in existence. It is in its beauty. It shines. I just polished it the other day. I took it into the shop, got it cleaned up, and it's nice and sparkly. It sits above my TV every time I watch football. I just glance up and smile, especially when the Birds are playing. Go Birds, 6-0, and yeah, I just wanted to bask in its glory and worship the trophy of the gods, the fantasy football gods.
Well, I'm gonna leave that as it is because I would have words that probably wouldn't be preferable on this show. We do try to keep it family friendly for those of us who might have a kid watching it nearby when they're watching it. So we'll leave it at that. Congratulations, Commissioner. It's been a wonderful ride. I'm looking forward to the next 30 years in the league.
Thanks, Garrett. It's been a pleasure.